it's that time of the week again. It's time for Programming by Stealth, and this is installment 174, recorded December 7th, 2024. And I'm your host, Alison Sheridan. And of course, I'm joined by your wonderful co-host, Bart Bouchats. How are you doing today, Bart?
I'm doing fine. If this is December 7th, is this the podcast that will live in infamy?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. Well, before we get started, I'm gonna take over the show because I want to describe and hopefully help you appreciate what it takes for Bart to put together an episode like what you're going to hear today. The first thing he's got to do, of course, is figure out, think up, guess what he's going to teach. What should I be teaching this week? Then, in this case, he invents this fictional corporation that we've been following for the last couple of episodes, but then he has to dream up the different roles of the players in all of these different scenarios. I mean, we're going to go through 2 more scenarios than we did last time. So he's got to come up with all these different roles, and he's got to map out the scenarios that will illustrate the things he wants to teach. Then, you know what he does? He writes it, and then he rewrites it, and then he rewrites it until he's clear. And this part takes literally hours. I'm talking about the rewrites takes hours. And if he's super lucky, Alison has read ahead and given him tons of questions to help him rewrite it yet again. So I appreciate the amount of work he goes. I was just thinking about this when I was done reading, going, oh my gosh, this took me 2 hours to read. If it's how much work it must have been to put this together and think it up, Bart. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. And if the listeners want to look under the hood, because of the magic of Git, they can see all the versions.
Yeah, that's a good point. The scroll bar is wee tiny on that list.
Yeah.
All right. Well, This is a meaty one, and we did a lot of faffing about before we got started, so we should probably get stuck in.
Indeed. So this is part 3 of 3 of our exploration of Git repos inside Git repos, which Git calls Git Submodules. So in the first time, we listened to some pure theory, motivations, why we care. Why would we want to do this strange turtles all the way down thing? And then we looked at how to do the basics of the Git module command. So how can we consume other repositories within our repositories? A little subfolder where we pull in someone else's stuff. And that's half of what Git does, right? You use Git to get open source projects, you use Git to get other stuff, but most of the time we go the other way too, right? We push as well as pull. We haven't done that yet with submodules. The other thing we know how to do is branch, right? There's often many whip branches on our show notes. So in the real world, that's what happens. So what happens with submodules when we branch? And well, we're going to learn that today. That is literally the 2 pieces left here for our submodules. So that's what we're going to do.
All right.
Quite a few reminders. So we are playing in a simulation, our pretend company, and we're representing a whole bunch of people's PCs and a pretend server with folders. So our URLs are file paths, whereas in the real world, it would be https:// or ssh://. So we hit into a security default, which says if a git command causes a git command, that second git command can't use a file URL, but we are. So we have to tell it, no, Mr. Git, we're fine with it. We mean you to do this. With -C for configuration, protocol.file.allow equals always, and that'll just work. We have to do that, but you don't have to do that normally.
Right.
Yeah. And the other little reminder then is our little pretend scenario I dreamt up. So we are PBS Core, and Alison gives me credit for dreaming this up, right? But the naming I'm not so good at, right? I don't get marks for that.
I like it.
Okay, so where we left off, we had an imagined Git server with a little company that makes web apps, and that Git server has 3 repositories. PBS Core brand, which is the company's unified style, PBS Core app 1, which is the company's first web app, and that links to the brand, which is the PBS Core brand repository using a submodule. and also PBS Core App 2, which does the same thing. So it has a folder named brand that is a submodule that connects to the brand. So if you want to play along, you can download the zip file, extract the zip file, change into that folder, and then to get all this set up, run the initialization script, which has gotten quite long. It's quite long this time. So, I can't hear you, Alison.
I should have added that to the list of things that you had to do, is you had to write these scripts in order to cause this, and I bet you had to test it.
Repeatedly, because it didn't work first time. Do you know what takes most time sometimes? Me playing with the silly pretend web app, because I end up stuck on Google Fonts for 4 hours looking for the perfect font.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt the show, and I know this is going to run long, but I did the same thing. I have not worked on on my podcast because I was busy trying to figure out how to color in the glasses on the little Santa icon that I'd chosen to put on my Christmas card labels. Okay, so I was like in Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer and trying to find the right tool to paint in to make them dark sunglasses. So when you get your Christmas card, Bart, I hope you appreciate those sunglasses.
I will. I'll pay extra close attention. Okay, so what this big script is going to do is it's going to make our 4 folders. So remote-repos is pretending to be the Git server. PC-app1dev is pretending to be the developer of app1. PC app2dev pretending to be developer of app2. And PC brand designer pretending the PC for the brand designer. Then it's taking the backups of all of our Git repositories where we left them last time, which are in bundle files, and shoving those onto the pretend server as real Git repositories. And then it clones all of those newly created pretend Git repositories on the server into the pretend PCs. So we now have everything basically where we left it.
Okay, all right.
So we have 2 scenarios. So scenario number 1 is number 4. Sorry, that's bad naming.
Because we did 1, 2, 3. We're on scenario 4 now.
Precisely. So App Developer 2 has decided that the brand is insufficient. App 2 has run into an issue where the brand doesn't have enough styling choices. So App Developer 2 is brave enough to tell the designers that I can improve your brand. And App Developer 2...
When I saw this section, I said to Bart, I said, I can't believe the App Developer 2 is going to deign to touch the brand design. They're getting so spanked. When she does that, it's going to be a big mess. But as we talked about, the brand people, they can just refuse the commit. Or they can say, that's actually kind of good. I think I'll accept that.
Or second guess it a bit, tweak it a little, and then let other people use it. Okay.
Right.
So we're going to... Okay, so if we go in and we open app 2 in your favorite browser, index.html, so change into PC app2dev, PC core-app2, and then open index.html. So the problem to be solved is that the numbers aren't very clear. Like it's showing the seconds to Christmas, and we've had some feedback from our pretend users to say, the number doesn't stand out. So how do we make it stand out? So the first thing we're going to do as a developer is try not to change the brand. What we're going to do is make the paragraph bigger. So this is using Bootstrap 5. So we're going to give it the class display-3, which makes 3rd biggest display heading. And that looks a little better. So to save you typing, I've made a copy of the whole file, which you can copy over index.html. And the command is in the show notes.
Right.
So it's bigger now. It's not a great
if we refresh it. So we refresh our browser, we can see these fancy new changes.
Well, it's bigger. It's not right yet.
So the seconds to Christmas is what we're looking at for everybody who's following along. Okay.
You'll see it grow. But the font is still a lovely font for text, but it's not a particularly digity font. Like usually something where digits, they're nicer defined digits. So we want to improve that. And as it happens, there's already a class on that paragraph called numeric but there's no CSS to make that mean something. So developer could put that CSS in themselves in their own app, but surely other apps need numbers. So this should be centralized and consistent across all apps. So it should go in the brand. Great, let's try that.
In a way, App Developer 2 is doing a good thing to say, look, I think this doesn't look as good as it could, but I don't want to just do it on my side. I think it should be wherever we have this.
Exactly. So CD into the submodule. So CD brand. We do a git fetch and a git status because we want to make sure we're in a good place here, right? I've told you the init script has done everything, but you're the developer. It's your PC. You're not sure. The brand people could have done lots of work while we were talking here, right? So git fetch, git status. Well, it's half good news. Nothing to commit, working tree clean. Okay, we're ready to go. But it says head detached. It sounds a bit fateful.
I hate that. I always panic when I see it because I reread the link that you put in the show notes to remind us, and hopefully we can talk about it for just a second, but I can't wrap my head around what causes it, how I end up in that situation.
So you can say git checkout and specify an exact commit, and then it will pull that commit as the currently working thing. And if you
that's the head.
Well, no, there's no head because the head is the top of a branch. When you've checked out a commit rather than a branch, there's no concept of a head.
Oh, okay.
So if you're in Git Kraken and you double click a commit halfway down the tree, you're going to have a detached head.
Okay, I get it now. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So a branch has a head, but a commit doesn't have a head.
Yeah, a commit is a place. And to make a new commit, it has to go at the head of something, which is your current branch. But if you're not at the head of a branch, a commit can't go anywhere. So you can't make changes.
Because there's all those other ones after it that would affect. And that's what branching's for.
Bing, bing, bing. Exactly. Okay. So if you want to start halfway down the tree, you make a new branch there, then you have a head, the head of your new branch, and you can commit away. But until you make a new branch, you can't.
Right. So I get that now, but all we did was look at the brand and fetch it.
Right.
We didn't check out a commit, did we?
We didn't. But when we said Git Submodule update, what Git does is it looks and says, what commit should the brand be at? And it checks out the commit the brand should be at.
Oh, okay.
So we now need to say...
That's one of those things that your script did for us, right?
My script did this time, but we would have been in exactly that place where we left off last time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because the submodule works by saying this folder is this repo at this commit, not at this branch, at this commit.
Why does it do that? That's mean.
Because otherwise, spooky action at a distance. This way you have to proactively move the branch forward. Move the submodule forward. So imagine the brand had done lots of work and we wanted to take that change in a controlled way. If the submodule went off on its own, we'd be like, this isn't where we left it. So it stays at the commit. So it's reliable.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
Reliable.
Yeah.
Okay.
We want to make a change. So we have to tell Git, what branch is this new commit going to go on? So at the moment, there's only one branch in our brand. It's the branch main. So we just say Git checkout main. And now
so the submodule will stay at the same commit, but now it'll have a head that's main.
Precisely.
Huh.
Because we were already fully up to date, right?
Okay.
So we're basically saying, I want to stick my new commit here at the top of main. So now we're ready.
Weird. It's still a little headbendy for me, but okay, I'm with you.
Right. So now a Git status is exactly what we want. On branch main, up to date with origin/main, nothing to commit, working tree clean. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Perfect. This is what we always like, right?
Yeah.
So when I say the developer wasted a lot of time on Google fonts, I mean me. I picked a very rational font called Rationale and a very nice shade of red. And then I updated style.css. So I added the font with the new import URL. And then I added the class numeric, which says font family rationale, font style normal, blah, 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 color red.
Okay.
So
at least
you
could spend time on emoji, right?
Ooh.
So you have to have that outlet.
There should be a Christmas tree emoji somewhere on that page, shouldn't there? Yeah, and a Santi maybe. Anyway, right. So you could make the change yourself, or I made the whole file for you so you can copy the updated version over the current version with the command in the show notes. So now, if we do a git status, we see what we would expect. Change is not staged for commit, modified, style.css. We did that. So let's commit it. Git commit -am feat and support for displaying numeric data, git push. So that's the submodule done. So we have now pushed our changes up to the brand and the content of the brand folder is correct. So let's now step back to the outer module, the one for our app, and see how the world looks from that point of view. So cd ...
Hang on. So we have pushed where? We pushed to
brand.
So brand is a name of a folder in our local, but
it is the repository PBS core -brand on the pretend Git server.
Okay, so we've sent it up to the real people. They're going to find out that we were touching their brand. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So now we step back to the parent repository, the one for app 1, which contains the brand folder. So now let's see what it sees. What's its view of the world? So git status. On branch main, your branch is up to date with origin/main. Changes not staged. Modified, the brand. It's not at the commit we last saw it. It's at a new commit, our commit. So it's a different commit. So that's a modification. Okay. Modified index.html, because we added that extra class, display-3.
Right.
So 2 changes. Okay, great. Let's commit them then. Git commit -am feat improve the display of countdown numbers to address customer feedback. Git push. Now we're done.
Okay. So when we're up a level, looking down at brand, our upper level doesn't care what branch or commit. It cares about the commit of brand, which will grab all of the stuff inside. But we don't care what commit it was on inside. We don't care what branch it was on inside.
We don't care what branch. And we chain one file and we see it as one change, just the new commit. But if we had changed 500 files, it'd still be one change, the new commit.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm with you so far. That was the easy one.
Yes. Okay. So now let's do a very real world example. This is what I do for real. Well, did before I became cybersecurity specialist. When I was a sysadmin, this is based on how I actually managed plugins in something like Moodle. I would use this process to do it in a controlled way. So we're going to simulate that by saying that the bigwigs in corporate HQ have decided we need to rebrand. While we were a new company, the very roundy, cuddly fonts were great, right? They're very roundy, very friendly, not very professional. We want a new brand. It should be elegant, pastel colors, very stylish, a little bit Art Deco, more refined. So we need to do a whole new branch, or a whole new brand, which means either we change all of our apps in one go, which is terrifying, or we have the 2 brands exist in parallel for a while. We let apps stay on brand 1 for as long as they need to, and let apps begin to move to brand 2 at the same time. And realistically, there might be bug fixes on brand 1 while we're already working on brand 2. So we definitely do need two parallel branches.
This does sound funny that, it would be terrifying to have the brand go out, change overnight. But imagine this was a functional change, not just how it looked on a web page.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. So we're going to lay some groundwork here. So we're a young company, PBS Core. This is our first 2.0, right? Nothing else we've done has gone 2.0. And when we started the company, there was one sysadmin, horribly overworked, did something that was functional, but not future-proof. Now it's time to pay some technical debt, I believe the management phrase is. Uh-huh. So we haven't explicitly said it, but the company's been using a very simple branching policy on their repositories. Only production-ready tested code gets committed to main. So if it's main, it's ready to go. Any experimentation you do in a whip branch, like we do for our show notes. Now we have a version 2. So we're going to have a 1-point-star version of the brand and a 2-point-star version. So we have to rethink all of this. So long story short, we're going to have new not allowed to call them that, 2 new primary branches for these 2 production-ready versions of the brand. So we're going to call them stable-v1, stable-v2, and no prizes for guessing what we'll do next time, stable-v3. This gives us a minor quandary. It's normal to have main exist in a Git repository. It's the default branch. You can technically remove it, but you will confuse everyone. It's like weird. Right? Git repositories have a main. Yeah, exactly. So when you look at the real world, the choice they make is to use main as a way of saying which of these stable branches is currently the one we consider primary, the one you should use by default for something new. And so they keep it in lockstep with one of the other stable branches. So when I see this in Moodle, before they start work on the next release, they have main pointing at, say, version 3.9. And they also have a 3.8 and a 3.7 current getting bug fixes, but main is in line with 3.9. And then they start working on 4.0, but they keep main there until 4.0 is ready to be what you should use for a brand new Moodle server. And then they move main up to 4.0.
That makes a lot of sense because you're going to be messing around with these lower level ones that you haven't, you're just doing bug fixes, maintenance and stuff. But Sally joins the team and she's going to set up a new one. You want Sally using what's obvious, main, and that will take her to 3.9 until 4.0 becomes main. But at least she's going to start. You don't want her to start on the one that you're just doing bug fixes and maintenance on and then have to do some weird upgrade. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a convention.
Right.
You don't have to do that, but it seems what everyone does. So let's do the same here in our little pretend company. Right. Management are really splashing out, though. So we're not just making that one change. We've also invested in twice as many servers. We're going to have a test environment so that we can safely play with things, then put them out for real.
Our little company's growing up.
It is. And our little company is doing things by the book. So they're going to connect a branch to this test server using CI/CD, which is basically automation that you connect to Git. So if someone pushes to this branch, it should move the code to this server. And so we're going to name that branch staging. So changes get staged, tested, and then they're allowed to go into stable main, whatever.
Okay, and again, CI/CD you've defined in here as continuous integration, continuous deployment. Boy, does that sound like corporate speak or what? But what that means is that's just the automation that's triggered by Git actions. That's what Helm does to us, right?
It is, yeah. The spell checker fires and all sorts of stuff happens when we push to the repository. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have a way cooler, more mature policy here, right? Our branching policy is now 5 points. only production-ready code should be committed to main or any branch that starts with the word stable. So if it's main or stable, it has to be real code. Repositories that have not yet reached 2.0 can keep working the old way. They have one production-ready branch, it's called main. Any project that goes 2.0 has to adopt the new naming convention. So they have to get a stable-v1 for the old code to continue getting bug fixes. And they start work on version 2 on stable-v2. And they keep main pointing at the default they want. So
which
initially
is
v1.
what, it's still v1 at this point. Stable v1.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. And then at some point in the future it'll become 2. Yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
Any testing of code should be done on a branch named staging, because that's connected to the testing server. And any experimentation that isn't even ready for that goes on whip dash whatever you like. So that's your playground, right? Do whatever you want. And then when you're ready to test it, you put it to staging. And then when it passes testing, it goes to stable. And that is very real world. Very, very real world. Okay. So the sysadmin has some work. The sysadmin has to add various new branches. It has to make sure that app 1 and app 2 have their staging branches, and that the brand the brand repository has a stable v2 and a stable v1. So, a bit of work to do here. Right. So we have 4 subparts of scenario 5 that the show notes will label A, B, C, D if I've done a little bit of CSS right. So we're going to call them scenarios 5A, B, C, and D. So A is the sysadmin doing their homework. B is the brand designer actually making us our cool new Art Deco pastel colored beautiful new theme. Step 3 of C is the developer of app 1 updating their app on staging. So they're going to take their current working app 1, move it over to staging, so just branch into staging. And in staging, they're going to pull in that scary new theme, open it in the browser, make sure it's all good, and then it's going to go to main on their app, because their app isn't changing version, it's just picking up the new theme.
Okay, so we're not going to version 2 yet.
No. For now, let's just have one v2 on the brand. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah, okay.
Now, the CSmin has a bit of... CSmin? Sysadmin? I only did it for 20 years. They have a little bit of work to do, which I have scripted. And this is really funny because the ultimate sysadmin t-shirt is I could replace you with a small shell script. And I have just replaced the sysadmin with a small shell script.
Oh, Bart.
Okay. So what the small shell script does is sets up all the branches. So there's a lot of names here. So I'm going to put them in a table in the show notes and we'll just go through them quickly. So in PBS Core brand, we have 3 branches. Main, which is right now aligned with stable v1. Stable v1, which is our existing brand, ready for bug fixes. Stable v2 will become our new brand, but right now we've branched it from v1 and made no changes yet. So it is also the same as the other 2. For now.
So main stable v1, stable v2 are the same. Stable v2 will start to do new functionality. Stable v1 is about to get the new branding.
v2 is getting the new branding. v1 stays where it is. V2 is what we're
I thought you
said
that's. I was confused. I thought you said it was going to V1. I thought that was kind of weird, but makes more sense it's going to V2. Okay, got it. So that's PBS Core brand.
Yes. And app 1 and app 2 are exactly as they were, but they now have a staging branch, which is just connected to the test server.
So they just have main and staging. They don't get this stable V1, stable V2 thing.
Not until they're mature enough to go to a V2. Right. I don't know what that would be for a countdown to Christmas. Countdown to New Year as well? 2 timers? I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, they stay there where they are for now.
Okay, this table really helps to keep it in my head.
Yeah. Scenario 5B then, we're going to do our work. We're going to make this new brand. Again, I wasted a lot of time finding very nice fonts and colors. I have to do 2 bits of work here, right? Anyway, all of my work is sitting ready for you to just copy in, right? So before we do that copying, we're going to put on the hat of App 2's developer. It is App 2 we're doing, isn't it?
No, we're doing the brand designer.
Yeah. Oh, the brand. Sorry.
We're doing the brand first.
Yes, we are. Right. So we're going to go to PC Brand Designer. And in PC Brand Designer, we're going into PBS Core Brand, which is where the brand is checked out. We're going to do a git fetch to make sure our PC is fully up to date with the pretend server. It is, but let's just do it. Good practice. And we will see actually, sorry, I intentionally didn't actually do git fetch as part of the script because I wanted you to see it happening here. So when you do the git fetch, what you actually see is the 2 new branches. New branch, stable v1, new branch, stable v2. So you say,
that's because the sysadmin did it to us.
Yes, exactly.
There we go.
The sysadmin did it on the server, and we've now fetched from the server, so we now see that they exist.
Okay.
We want to start using this wonderful new branch. Git checkout stable v2.
Okay, because we're the brand designer. We're about to mess with the brand.
Yes, we are. Okay, so
and we don't have to work on a whip. We get to just go wild over on stable v2.
We do, because this is the first change. And imagine we'd spent a week on whip, and we're just going to jump over that. That was me faffing about in Google Fonts. So we're ready to go. So you could make all the changes manually, but there's a lot of them. So you can copy a full version of the new style sheet with the command in the show notes. And now it's ready to be committed. Git commit -am feat initial release of v2 of the PBS core brand & git push. Whoosh.
How come your show notes don't tell us we get to go refresh the web page?
Well, they don't now because I've only updated the CSS file. We're not going to see it until we become app developer 1, which is what we're going to do in 2 seconds here. Then you can see it.
Gotcha. Okay, fine.
Yes, it's pretty, I promise. I'm overselling it now. Anyway. Right. Scenario 2B done, or 5B done. Now let's do 5C. We are the developer of app 1. So we want to move to the folder PC app 1 dev, PBS core app 1. Now, we want to do a fetch on everything. So not a pull, just a fetch. We want to learn what exists on the server, but not just for app 1, also for the brand. So git fetch --recurse -submodules. So that fetches everything.
We got new branches all over the place.
Right, because we have our new staging branch on app 1, which the sysadmin did, and we have 2 new branches on the brand, and a whole new commit. So there's a whole new commit has come into main as well. Actually, no, it hasn't. Sorry. No, it stayed the same. Sorry, my bad. But it has 2 new branches. Excited. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it has 2 new branches, right? That's what we expected. So we now want to do our move to the new brand in a controlled way. So we're going to say git checkout staging.
Okay.
We do a git status.
Characters here.
Yeah, we do a git status. You're on origin stage, or so you're up to date with origin staging, nothing commit, working tree clean. Great. We want to go right into the brand submodule, CD brand. We do a git status in here, and we are on our detached head again.
No, not a detached head. Okay,
oh my
fine.
God, French Revolution, terrible. Right, not a problem. Because we really want to make a change here, right? We don't just want to say, I want the same commit, but I want to tell you what branch. We're going to change everything. Git checkout stable v2. So we're going to do a whole new commit here.
Okay, so we were told in a staff meeting that this is where we would go find the new branding, I'm guessing.
And we saw it come in, right? We saw a new branch staging stable v2. So we saw it exist, and we would have been told in a meeting, right? Yeah, exactly. Team meeting, big celebration. Ooh, brand is ready, folks. Check it out, stable v2. So the brand folder is now updated. So let's step back to the parent repository for all of app 1 and let's see what it looks like from there. Well, okay, so we CD back, but we were at the meeting, we paid attention, and we were told that numbers need to have the CSS class numeric, otherwise they won't look pretty. And the app 2 developer did that in scenario 4. The app 1 developer has only just caught up. So the app 1 developer is now going to add that class to their output because they show random numbers.
I'm sorry. I'm going to open my index.html because I want to see the new thing that we're on. So PBS Core app 1 is our random number generator, but our number just is a little monospace 16. Doesn't look like Bart spent any time on the internet at all looking for fonts.
Exactly.
But that fool over in app 2, man, made that change. I got to bring this new brand thing in. Jeez.
Exactly. So class equals numeric, right? It's not actually a big change. Great. You can use the command in the show notes to stomp a fully updated file over index.html, but it really is one line, right? That's changed. The big change, of course, is inside the brand repository. So when we do a git status, we see two modifieds, index.html, which is just our little change, and brand, which just says, yeah, there's a new commit. It's a pretty significant new commit, but from its point of view, just a new commit. So we can commit it by saying git commit -am feat migrate to brand v2.
Wait a minute. Did we make changes in brand?
Well, we said check out stable v2. Inside the brand folder, we said git checkout stable v2.
That's a new commit to PBS Core app 1.
Right. Because it's now...
we didn't create a new commit in brand. We checked something out, which now made it... That's a commit change to the upper level, to the app.
So the commit that is currently checked out has changed because we said check out this other branch.
Right. That's the change, though. That's the commit. We didn't actually mess around in the brand. We didn't touch the brand. We didn't change a font. We didn't fool around in there. It's the fact that we checked out a different branch. That's now a new commit to app 1.
A new change.
Well, to the brand.
Okay, sorry. I see what you mean. Yes, it sees that folder as being at a different commit.
Yes.
Because
Than it was expecting. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, than it was told before. So that's why it's a change. So we can commit it here. Feat migrate to brand v2 git push. Now you can open your browser. Because what's happened now by us doing that push is the imaginary CI/CD magic has happened and it's now on the test server, which you can simulate by opening the file in Safari.
Okay.
Very exciting.
Now that doesn't look like the same font as what we had over in the digits.
Well, no, because I've updated.
Oh, that's right.
How? Right?
That's right. This is a fancy new branding. Don't we look professional now?
I think so. I kind of like it. Okay, we're ready. So we've made a change. We've tested it on staging. So now we're ready to bring that change into the main branch of app 1. So that's scenario 5D, is to make that production. So as we learned way back in installment 107, if you're doing it on the command line, to merge anything into main, you have to be on main and take the change into yourself. We're used to the GUI and Git Kraken where you can drag and drop and it's perfectly happy, but no. We have to do it the old-fashioned way. Go to main.
You know, Bart, I always obey that, though. You always say I can do it without checking it out, but I always check out main first because I'm always afraid I'm going to end up in some, discombobulated state that I don't know where I am.
Safer, to be honest. I'm lazy. Sometimes bites me.
Okay, so git checkout main, but now what happens?
So we've now changed to main, and when we do a git status, things are not as we expect. We have reverted app 1, but we've left the brand behind. It's still at its new commit, So Git status is seen as modified. So we haven't fully checked out main. We're half in the two universes.
I don't follow you. What?
Okay, so normally if you're on a whip and then you check out main, everything changes to how it was on main. Everything.
Right?
That
Right.
hasn't happened.
Why?
Our code changed. We left the other stuff behind because we changed branches in a not submodule aware way. We did this the old way because we weren't thinking. We have to do that branch change more sensibly. So it doesn't work because we did it wrong.
Okay, I don't know where we did it wrong.
Okay, we told the outer module to change its branch without telling it to also change what's checked out in the submodules. So we're in a universe between realities.
We checked out a new commit, a new branch, the staging branch on the brand,
Yes.
and then we went up a level, and then
Yes.
we that became a commit that we needed to make to
Which we
pull
did.
that, and we did that, and
So
then
at
we
that
switched
point
to
in-
main. How'd we do something
Yeah.
wrong?
We only switched the outer repository. We didn't tell Git we wanted to update the submodules. The submodule was not changed by that Git chart. So it's in the state appropriate to staging, not in the state appropriate to main. So it sees the brand as being at the wrong commit, which is why it says M.
Well, we haven't pushed
brand.
it. We haven't pushed it to main. How could main possibly know about it?
But we're not trying. Right. The problem is main sees it because we left it behind. We didn't check out the correct, so the correct commit of the submodule. Okay, imagine
the
we're
the
trained.
submodule
No.
changes in main. We haven't pushed
I
it to
know.
main.
I know.
So how
that.
could main
That's why
doesn't
it's
know
broken.
anything yet? But main doesn't know anything yet. All we did was we made a bunch of changes in this one commit. Then we checked out main. It shouldn't know anything that we did in the commit, much less the brand change in the submodule.
Okay. But main knows what commit that submodule should be at for main. It kept a record of the commit it wants to see inside the brand folder.
Oh, there's no way I'm ever going to follow that. Okay. So main wants it to be something? Main
Right, it
has
wants
an
it to-
opinion?
No, it has a version. What main stores is the folder brand is connected to that repository at this commit. That's what it knows reality should be. It has saved the commit I want from the repository, put it in that folder. It's a link to a specific commit.
Okay, but we
It has
I'm still stuck on we made some changes in something. And then we checked out in some branch. Then we checked out main, which is a different branch. It shouldn't know anything. So we
Right.
have to merge. We haven't merged anything yet.
right. You are correct. From main's point of view, the brand folder is supposed to be at the old commit. It's not.
Okay.
We
Right.
physically changed the files and we did a checkout of main without telling it it also has to put the brand folder to the right commit. It's like we were on a train pulling a carriage and we came to a switch and we didn't hold on to our carriage. We were just hoping it'd coast behind us. We switched track and our carriage is wrong.
I feel like I don't know anything about Git right now. Because normally if I make some changes in whip and then I go check out main, in the case of the show notes, we've got whip 174. I check out main. Main doesn't know anything about those changes because I haven't said to merge yet. I need to merge that stuff in for it to even know that exists. But you're saying that main somehow magically knows I made those changes, even though I haven't merged yet.
No. Main knows there should be no changes. It knows the universe should look unchanged from the last time you were on main.
Okay.
It knows that should be true.
Okay.
The problem is the brand folder is wrong. It does not match the reality the branch main specifies.
Okay. I didn't merge yet. That's how come it's not there.
No. The problem is
maybe
I
should let you keep going.
No, the problem is it is there. We didn't clean up.
I'm going to have to let you keep going because I can't see it.
No, this is vital. We can't pass this. This is vital. Imagine, no, please. If you have a normal file on main and you have it open in a smart modern text editor, when you check out main, you'll see the file change.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Imagine you had a really old file browser which doesn't keep sync with the file system. And when you change main, what you see in your text editor does not change.
Okay.
And what's worse is the text editor has a write lock on the file. So when you checked out main, the file got stuck. The file is wrong. It shouldn't be, but it is. By changing to main without doing it in a submodule aware way, we have unnaturally held the brand folder in the wrong state. Main is angry. Main knows what should be in brand, and it isn't right because we have not allowed the brand folder to switch back to its old state.
So I see what you're saying, but I'm still stuck on something completely separate, which is I make a change to something in a branch. I commit. Mm-hmm. I push to that branch. Mm-hmm. Then I switch to main. Mm-hmm. Then I merge those changes in. We haven't done that step yet. So how does it even know? It doesn't even know yet. Main can't know anything, much less the submodule problem.
Right. It doesn't know. What it knows is the universe should look exactly like I left it. The last time
and it does, because I haven't merged. It doesn't know I made changes over there yet.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't know. We have broken the universe. The brand folder
in what step? Tell me the step we did where we broke it.
Git checkout main. That should have changed all the files to be how it was last time. We have broken the universe. The brand folder.
So somehow, just because it's a submodule, it doesn't change.
Yes.
When you get checkout main.
Yes. Unless you say...
Now I see what you're saying. So get checkout main would change everything else we were doing back to the way it looked when we were on main, but the submodule doesn't because we held on to the carriage or we didn't hold on to the carriage.
We didn't hold on to the carriage. Exactly.
That was 12 minutes of everybody's life. They'll never get back, but...
Yeah, but vital. Really important. Okay. So we changed track wrong. Let's back up. Git checkout staging. We're now right back where we started. But now we're going to go from staging to main correctly. Git checkout --, recurse minus submodules main.
Okay.
Now you see the universe exactly like you wanted to see it. Everything is how it used to be. The old brand, the old HTML file, none of our changes. 0 of our changes exist here, as should be true. So if you open your browser, hit refresh, the ugly brand is back.
Okay.
So the --, recurse submodules is vital when you have submodules.
Okay.
Your GUI will do it for you, but on the command line, you will get this wrong. I speak from experience. Took me a while to figure out why.
Wouldn't our saying git checkout main, you've got in the show notes what it was we saw, but I'm sorry, after git status, what in there told you, whoa, I did it wrong?
Two things. So at the moment in time we said git main, the normal output is 2 lines. Switch to branch main, your branch is up to date with origin/main. But the actual output was 3 lines. 1, M, brand. Brand is in a modified state. Why is the brand in a modified state? We told you to go back to how reality was, and you've left that folder wrong.
So the line he's talking about just says, it's just M sitting on the left and then the word brand. That's all it says.
So
it doesn't say you left something behind. It just says brand's modified. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Now, that's not obvious, which is why I'm saying in hindsight, if you scroll up, you'll have seen that, but you won't have noticed. I didn't when I was writing the show notes. Where I noticed it was when I did a git status and it said modified brand. I was like, no, the brand should be right where I left it. Why isn't the brand where I left it? Went to the Git book, opened the chapter on submodules, read it again, and went, oh, yeah, I forgot the -minus recurse submodules main.
Okay.
When you do it that way, your output from the actual checkout is exactly the 2 lines you want, which is just switch to branch main. Your branch is up to date with origin/main. And git status is the 3 happy lines of magic on branch main, up to date with origin, nothing to commit, working tree clean, right? They're the 3 happiest lines when you're a Git person.
Right.
So now we are ready to do exactly what you know we need to do. Git merge staging.
Oh, I feel so much better. We finally got there. Thanks for staying with me on that. I just thought I was never going to get there. But okay, so now we do git merge staging.
Yeah. Now, it now knows what the new desired reality of that submodule is. Do you want to guess what it didn't do? Is actually change the content of the folder to match the new reality it knows should be true. It knows what it wants. It hasn't done it. So if you do a git status, it's showing us that that brand is on the wrong commit. Modified brand. Oh, why?
Wait, hang on. We just did the git merge staging.
Yes.
You didn't talk about what it says, this brand 2 plus or minus thing.
Okay, so it is saying that when we merged in staging, two things changed by the act of merging in that branch. Index.html changed, and the commit the brand should be at changed.
It says 2 insertions, 2 deletions.
Yeah, it took out the old commit and put in the new commit. It took out the old HTML line and put in the new HTML line.
Okay, so now move on from there. I wasn't able to focus on that because I wanted to understand that part. Okay.
Sure. So now when we do git status, it knows what the brand should be. It should be the commit with the shiny new brand on it. But it hasn't physically made that true. It just says, yeah, I know what you should be. And when you do git status, it says, oh, that folder's at the wrong commit. That folder is at the old commit for the main branch, not the new commit. Well, the magic command to make submodules be correct is git submodule update. That makes the physical folders match the desired reality. So it knows what commit it wants, it just hasn't done it. I don't know why, by the way. If I was designing this, I would have git submodule update happen automatically, just always.
Yeah, why would you not want to do that? There's got to be some circumstance under which you don't want that, but
there's a circumstance in which it would break. If you were on an airplane and the remote server was genuinely remote, you couldn't get the new commit.
Okay.
I don't see that as a reason not to have it be the default, by the way. But yeah. There's lots of questions on Stack Overflow, and everyone asks this question, and the answer everyone gives is, huh? It's really annoying.
All right.
I
So
thought the
now we have
answer
a
would
submodule
be
path brand has a commit.
yeah,
And now when we refresh, we get to see the pretty new fonts.
yeah. We're ready. Git push. That's it.
All right.
Our new web app has now been pushed to the server. We have updated app 1 to brand 2 in a controlled way.
I'm really intrigued here. I know you thought I gave you all of my questions because I gave you so many questions in the last 3 days as you've been rewriting this. I had more on a sticky note on my screen here, not a physical sticky note, but like, wait a minute, why did we do this? Why did we do that? Why did we do that? And now I understand.
Excellent.
I couldn't figure out what that last 5D was even what we were doing when I first read it. So this is one that luckily everybody who's listening to this is listening to this.
Yes. And this is a heavy lift, right? This is the pinnacle of Mount Git, right? Of our exploration of Mount Git. There are 1 or 2 peaks in the vague distance we may venture towards someday. Rebasing is one I'm on. Maybe not. You're going to see it on more and more Git clients. Not for at least 6 months.
I do have to say that the first 12 times I've run into problems with the submodules that you're about to foist on me in the show notes, you don't get to say I already taught you this because I'm going to ask you again and again and again and again.
Interesting news there. So you, in this scenario, are the brand designer. You don't have to worry about submodules. I do. I'm app 1 developer. You want a subset of my giant big folder of notes. So you get to be the inner one. I have to merge the inner one into my bigger outer structure. So my problem.
My blood pressure just dropped.
Yeah, it's just literally not your problem. You just ignore it. My problem. I'll learn a lot.
Okay, good. All right, so we've this is the finale of the Git submodule series. Is this a series within a series then?
I guess it is, which is a series within a series within a series.
Exactly.
Which is really appropriate, right? Nesting all the way down, turtles all the way down.
Exactly.
I'm going to wrap it up with a very quick summary. We've talked a lot, but in reality, you just need 5 new commands in your arsenal. Git submodule init is what you do the first time you clone a repository that has submodules. It just makes Git's internal database match the .git module file that says how it should be. Git submodule update makes the physical folders for the submodules be at the right commit. So when you change branches or anything and the folder's in the wrong place, Git submodule update makes reality match the desired reality, the specified reality. Yeah, actual reality becomes specified reality. They go into sync. Git checkout -- recurse submodules name of branch is how you switch branches completely. My main repository changes branch, and all the submodules do what they're supposed to do. Git fetch -- recurse submodules says fetch the new reality everywhere. All the new realities. Get them all in one go. Git submodule update -- remote says get the latest version for the appropriate branch of every single submodule. Rule them all forward at once. I never do this because the whole point is you're trying to be controlled and do things piece by piece. Update everything is not controlled. It's the opposite of controlled. But if you know, you
taught us how to do it anyway.
Exactly. And that's it. So arguably 3 installments could have been those 5 lines, only they wouldn't have been much good to you.
Exactly. The understanding definitely wouldn't be there. Well, I'm glad I did my little pitch, rah Bart at the beginning because I appreciate it even more going through all of this with you. I think at this instant in time I understand.
Excellent. And I will also say one more thing, right? So you're right that it's a lot of work, but I choose these topics for dual reasons. There's things that are both helpful to the audience and that I want to learn better. So I needed to get better at submodules. I understood them enough to be dangerous.
Muddle through.
Yeah, muddle through. That's a perfect description. And now I understand them. So I'm really happy I spent this time, and it's half for me and half for you.
All right. Well, and for the audience, of course.
Yeah, it's half for all three of us. Okay, magic. Right, folks. We're going to be changing topic completely next time, and I think there's a tidbit as a sort of a separator. So next time, we're going to explore why we care about something called the static site generator and why it matters to programming by stealth.
Oh.
And then we're going to learn how to actually do it and make free websites for ourselves on the real internet using the magic of GitHub Pages. So yeah,
nice.
Free stuff. Yes.
Nice.
Until then, lots and lots of happy computing.
If you learn as much from Bart each week as I do, I'd like you to go over to lets-talk.ie and press one of the buttons over there to help support him. He does 98% of the work here. I'm just the stooge that listens to him and asks the dumb questions. If you go over to lets-talk.ie, you can support him on Patreon, you can donate via PayPal, or you can use one of his referral links. I really hope you'll go over and help him out. In the meantime, you can contact me at Podfeed or check out all of the shows we do over there over at podfeed.com. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.